Before turning 20, my guest experienced and indulged in more in the LA area than most people in a lifetime. Musician, creative, storyteller, and writer Jennifer Finch was removed from her adoptive mother's home at 11 years old. She became astute at running away from home by the age of 13. And at 14, she got into drugs and punk rock. She adored her mother, who struggled with mental health issues. And Jennifer says it was a time when women were punished for exploring other ways to live their lives outside of the norm. It's kind of still that way today. Jennifer Finch is the bass player and vocalist in the seminal punk band L7. L7, you may know it very well. L7 made their television network debut on the David Letterman show in 1992. They hit the top 10 music chart in the same year. And October 2nd of 2025, L7 celebrated their 40th anniversary at the Belasco Theater in Los Angeles. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. That was
Wait,
wonderful.
I got a little bit more. It's okay. Today, with decades of life experience under her belt, Jennifer loves exploring big ideas, recovery, how to make change in the world, self-development, art, spirituality, and so much more. I'm really excited to speak with Jennifer Finch. Welcome to Should Have Listened to My Mother.
Oh, that was so wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, I believe I can sense in my heart that you have a pretty unique and yet not unique, because we know there are many people who have been adopted that have not had fantastic experiences, but yours is definitely unique in a lot of other ways. So I applaud you for that. And I respect you for that because I know you're very wise and you can probably help a lot of people with your message.
Wow, thank you so
That's
much.
there's yeah, but it's true, wisdom comes from life experience and you lived a lot.
Yeah,
So
certainly.
your mom's name was Sandy,
Mhm.
and you were adopted. Your parents divorced, and that's why you went live with your father.
Yes. So originally, my mother did have custody. Well, they had shared custody, and she had mental health issues, and my father eventually did get custody when I was 11.
Did your How long were your parents married before your parents were married? Or
Minutes. They
minutes
were
before
married
he
minutes.
realized,
Yeah,
or
they tell
before
me.
you were adopted, or
Well, they tell
both?
me the story that they thought the adoption process would be like long and arduous. So they almost like got married. They got married immediately and applied for adoption, and then were told about me. I wasn't placed in their home till I was maybe 9 months or a year, but they had visitation through that time. Yeah, I was born in the Salvation Army home for unwed
Oh, that's
mothers
right.
in
Yes,
West
thank you
Los
for mentioning
Angeles.
that.
Yeah.
Wow, the Salvation Army for Unwed Mothers in LA. Is it still there?
The building is still there, but I think
But not the
they like to
property.
hide away their unwed mothers still. No, I'm
Mhm.
just kidding. Humor is a coping mechanism
Well,
for me.
many people would probably prefer that in the past, many people sent their daughters, unwed daughters,
Sure.
away so society and culture and their neighbors wouldn't talk. But um, thank
Yeah,
goodness
of
we're beyond
course.
that, right? So,
Yeah.
and how long after they were married and you were in the home did your parents split up?
I was 6, so approximately they split up, let's say 7 years
Mhm.
later. They made it to 7.
Did you have any idea that your mom was perhaps is imbalanced, an okay word to refer to it, or did she just think outside the box?
Yeah, I think that the generation that I am from, we didn't completely recognize mental illness. It was a moral issue or a willpower issue. So it took me many years of kind of unpacking to come current to the understanding of both social pressures that she was under and mental health. And she never was officially diagnosed. This is all just based on sort of extreme behavior that I experienced.
So social pressure, what are you referring to?
Well, I think that women from her era, she was born just after the Second World War, grew up in a time with really intense expectations. Then she came of age during a time where those expectations were being broken down for good reason. But then having to hold both of those realities of like, you're going to get married, you're going to be a mother, you're going to live a lifestyle that's just going to be the same from the second you're married all the way to the end of your life, to then being introduced to the idea that no, you can run a business, you can work, you could do all this stuff like through the 60s. And she was a very adventurous person. To get right when she turned 17, she joined the Air Force and was in the military. After the military in the 50s, she married a musician and came to Los Angeles to live a sort of bohemian lifestyle in LA. And I think that at a certain point, she was getting into her later 20s and her 30s, and nothing was offered to her anymore, like these adventures and this lifestyle. And she, I think, had to make a decision to disappear into the suburbs.
Hmm.
And I think that's
After
kind of
all of that, after
after
being
all
in
of
the
that life.
military, yeah, how
Right.
many
Like
years in
it's
the military? Do you know?
I think, I don't know a lot about it. It was just 2 years, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was, so that was the 50s,
Early
right?
1950s,
Yeah, and
I
then
believe,
you're coming
or
into the
in the
60s
50s.
when women
Yeah.
were totally starting to come alive and figure out that they had some of
Right,
their
right,
own
right.
identity, right?
Right. And I was born
Wow.
in 1966, and both of my parents were very clear that, some babies come from their mommy's tummies and some do not, and family is family. And they made sure that I was with other adopted children. So I was around children of many different sizes, shapes, and shades, and families that were constructed in so many different ways. It never seemed odd to me. Like I really did forefront the idea that family is built on love and not necessarily anything else. I'm so
It
grateful
should
for that.
be. It
Mhm.
should be, right?
Yeah.
So so it was never, oh, we told our children at 6 or whatever that they were adopted, or, some people do it in a similar way that your parents did. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You are
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
adopted and we love you.
Yeah.
And then there's other kids that have that traumatic experience when they're told older, and it's hard to deal with.
Right.
And
Right.
what was it that broke your parents apart? Just
It's very, it's hard for me to look back and be able to analyze my parents. I think that for many years, like through my 20s and 30s, that's something that I wanted to do. I wanted explanations. And now, coming full circle, hopefully, with that is understanding that I may not know, and that's okay. And they had their own experiences in the world and they did the best that they could. I some even at some point still in my life, I'm like, really, did you do the best you could? But you hope that they did the best that they could. And you know,
oh,
I never desired knowing who my real mother was. It was a really interesting thing. I never grew up with people who are adopted describe that kind of hole of not knowing. And it really wasn't until I was in my 30s when it wasn't that realization of, I want to know who this woman was who gave birth to me. It was really about, wow, there's a woman in this world that gave birth to a child that doesn't know what happened.
and
And when
was brave enough to give it to someone who could take care of that baby and love the baby because she was unable to in one way,
Of
shape, or form.
course. But I think that we need to be very honest right now. And I was born in a pre-Roe world, so she had no choice. So, yes, brave, yes, painful, yes, all the things that it could have been. And her name is Gail, and she is wonderful. She's still with us.
You've met her.
I've met her. I've met my half sisters. I have relationships with them now. And it's great. And I grew up as an only child. So I now have half sisters
That's
who are
wonderful.
such a
Did
pain in the
you?
ass. So it's so great. It's like the family I've always wanted, and they don't talk to each other. They're in a big argument. So,
Oh my gosh, it gets complicated.
oh, people.
Well, you can't live with them. You can't live with them.
Oh, it's
So I'm
true.
curious, did you search out your biological mother or did she search you out?
I searched her out. Yes.
But you searched her for a reason. I mean,
Well,
you
like I
must have.
said, it's like a never, like I feel my superpower in life is curiosity and open-mindedness and willingness and like a humbleness to know like I am just a person in the equation, and maybe she would want to know what happened. Maybe it would provide some, I don't know, comfort or relief for her knowing, because she's living in a not knowing. And I think that that's one of the most difficult things for humans, is to be in a not knowing. That's really our challenge of life, is being okay with not knowing.
With no, but
Yeah,
that's a huge lesson or come to moment for many things in life.
of
Not
course.
knowing why someone left you, or not knowing why you didn't get a job, or not, but like you
Right,
said,
right.
it doesn't matter if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can come to peace with that.
We all want those conclusions, right? We want to
Yeah.
know what the conclusion is. And when Sandy, I hadn't talked to Sandy 2 years prior to her passing because of her mental health issues.
Mm,
And, then I was called in because she was on life support, and I had to go in and sit with her and make the decisions about the end of her life. And, we want these stories to be her opening her eyes and us both saying, I love you, I forgive you, what a life we've lived. And that conclusion just did not happen. And so I have to be okay with that. And, we have to be
yeah.
okay with not getting those beautiful, sometimes those Hollywood endings that we want, especially with our mothers. And in the
Or I'm sorry, I loved you, but I didn't know how to
yeah,
do it, or I couldn't, right?
yeah,
But good for you. And I know it's not easy, again, for being able to accept what we've been given.
of course.
That's a huge lesson.
Yeah, that acceptance and that self-acceptance is really that first, step to taking to, I don't know, finding a gentler place in the world and finding that serenity.
So, what would you say to Sandy if she joined us here in this Zoom?
Yeah, I think that I had opportunities to communicate with Sandy,
Mhm.
and she was not always receptive to having those kind of communications. I think she was very hurt, and also with mental health that was going on. So I would be reflective and cautious of what would make her uncomfortable. But I
Right.
think just her know, like I do, I feel I made the best efforts to tell her that I loved her, to tell her that, I respected her, and to tell her that everything turned out okay and was going to be okay. But she lived with a lot of resentment. So it was very
Okay.
hard. And which is that thing that the lessons we learn from our mothers are often those complicated lessons of how to negotiate sometimes the strongest of those emotions. And her resentment, I believe, actually helped me to become have more acceptance and to meet people where they're at, instead of sort of forcing those narratives of how they should behave.
More compassionate.
Yeah,
So,
I
but
hope
what
so.
was her resentment? Who or what was her resentment toward?
Um, I can only say how it came to me. So
How it felt?
how it right how it felt, and what I heard was she felt that my father was a person who had been using her. He was a wealthy man. He didn't appear to be who he was. He was an imposter. I mean, it was very along, paranoid schizophrenic kind of lines of thinking. And so she always felt that people were harboring money or trying to hurt her. And that was a lot of the stuff, the reason I was taken out of her home, due to a lot of disruptions where we lived, and sort of her fighting with people that she didn't recognize who they were really, or recognize them to be someone else.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
And
yes.
she would not seek help or treatment, or excuse me, look for a diagnosis. She really just felt the world was against her.
Well, that's the paranoia.
Right.
That's
In other relationships, I don't know, other friendships or other relationships, I don't know how it manifested, but that's what it triggered with me anyway.
do you remember her ever being happy? The pictures you sent me holding you,
I do,
I love those happy
yeah,
moments.
I know. And I think, like,
Mm,
as a child, it's one of those things when you come through trauma and you're working to alchemize your trauma, one of those things is really helping to create, to balance the memories. Because a lot of times when we experience traumatic unsafety or like not feeling safe, it's the job of the subconscious to, amplify those moments so that we stay safe. And part of, I think, the recovery process is to be able to balance those memories, and trying to remember those good times and those times when she was happy. And that's hard. It's not
Well,
easy.
that's a lot. You think of the brain of a child
Yeah,
and how wise and aware and how incredible a brain is. First of all, the kids either manipulate what they're seeing or feeling to make it, turning it into a positive thing. I mean, gosh, it's just incredible what kids are faced with these days, and how they manifest things, and it's crazy.
I know. I have faith in kids today, though. I think that they're going to do great. And,
Yeah.
our life, my lifestyle of like through the 70s and the 80s of coming home to a television on all the time in the house and not being able to escape that, I compare it to the screens today. And, I have a lot of hope for kids today
Well,
in their
adults are
choices.
starting to get wiser with choices, and you
Well, we'll
know,
see.
yeah, it's complicated, and it won't change overnight. But I see some wonderful ideas floating around, and that's great. That's good. Schools making decisions and all that.
Yeah,
So kids don't go outside really anymore. That's like my biggest pet peeve. But I think nature is really important for keeping balanced, and there's so
sure.
much more. So when you reflect on your mom, this is a story of a woman who, did she get shortchanged? Did she, do you know anything about her parents, your well, not
Sure, sure.
by adoptive grandparents? Was there a mental illness in the family? This is a story of a woman who,
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, I don't want to judge the family. I don't know anybody in the family and I don't know what happened, but I have been able to sit down with her sister and brother after she passed in 2011. And, they were as curious as I was to what the behavior was, and what they were up against. And I think that they didn't really know either. It seemed odd to them. So I certainly had the feeling that they had not experienced it at least in their generation.
you know, what gifts did she give you, your mom, leave you with your mom?
Oh, I think that gift of understanding and that gift of compassion and the gift to be able to meet people where they're at and the gift of wonderment and the gift of just understanding that life is nuanced and it's not always convenient. Thoughts are not always convenient, and that we can hold
Hmm.
many, many different contradictions at the same time, and that people can be complicated. It's okay.
It's okay. And the more time you spend with complicated people, the better we all get at that understanding and sympathy. And just like, they can come up with some really good ideas too.
Sure.
You think outside the box. The creatives often think outside the box. Artists, writers, poets, architects, the brain is a magical thing. So we kind of,
Yeah.
it is hard, but
Yeah.
but it is worth uh, an attempt, right, to understand somebody. But
Yeah.
keeping them at peace is also really important too.
Yeah.
So, is this, because I know your dad, he was influential in you starting photography
Mhm.
and a more creative side? Was your dad creative?
My father was the opposite of creative. He was an engineer and a
Oh,
mathematician.
well, music and math are related.
They are related, but he really would, I am a very like cryos time person. Like if I'm not feeling inspired to do something, it's very difficult for me to do it. And
Mhm.
he's obviously a very disciplined person. So we had a lot of conflict in that area.
Right.
Yeah.
Understandably, too. How'd he do as a single dad, your father?
Mhm.
How
Yeah,
did he do?
he did great.
Mhm.
I I am always amazed when I look back. I think that the general feeling of my generation, of this sort of Gen X generation, is how unleashed we were and how unpocketed we were and how
Free
open
or
and
open.
right and like a type of freedom, but it didn't necessarily match our environment. I didn't
Ooh.
grow up in a suburb, and we're fine. I just joke. I have so many friends that I still have from middle school. Like, I'm so grateful to, I mean, and maybe that's one of the gifts of both my parents was I really learned how to maintain, or the importance of maintaining friendships and showing up for other people and showing up for friendships. And yeah, I was gonna say, we always just joke on how are we still alive, you
Oh,
know?
it's pretty crazy, isn't it? But
Yeah,
it's those friendships from long ago that really help ground us. I might not be in
sure.
touch with all my girlfriends or high school friends, on a regular basis, but they know who I am and they know who I was then, and we all celebrate this life journey together. But yeah, it is pretty remarkable. So of
Yeah.
all your because you're pretty passionate about a lot of creative things, do you have one or more in particular? Because obviously your music is important to you. Do you write every day? Do you still shoot photography? How do you express yourself?
Oh, you're so sweet to ask. Right now, I wake up every day. I have a writing practice. I went back to get an undergrad a couple years ago at Antioch University, and keen interest in the kind of things that we're talking about with my mom. How not we sometimes we look at the individual to try to uh, analyze what's going on, but really, I became interested in like the systems that create us, and how society and acceptance and various forms of, I'm going to say oppression, but maybe your listeners can understand how we act as creatives under these systems. And I know that sounds really nuanced, but I think that it really like applies to how I grew up and the way that I did get to have the expression and the artistic expression that I have. I'm interested in being a writer now. So I'm hoping that if anyone is listening, I do have a Substack. I'd love for you to join. Please, just, it's free. Don't check their crazy boxes of having to pay. And I just do a newsletter where I explore, art and events from kind of a self-realization point of view, or like a curious point of view. And I'm often wrong, and I'm okay with it.
But you're curious.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I love that you're back in school again because you end up finishing high school, but then you're also taking college classes. You finished high school a semester early, and then
I did. I
you started
finished.
communities. That's
Yeah, and I
incredible.
kept.
Good for you.
Yeah, I joined L7 when I was 19 or 20. So I mean, I tried to stay in school and I never could. We would tour and I'd always have to sort of be dropping out and dropping back in and couldn't focus on school. So it's just only been in recent history in the last 5 years that I could jump into that.
How great is that? It's never too
Yeah,
late to try anything, right?
it is
Never
never,
too late.
never too late. You just have to maybe, yeah, adjust your expectations.
Oh my gosh. I hope you do public speaking because there are not only teens and young adults that could learn from your experience, but adults too that whether it was, they fit that cookie cutter norm in a relationship and they're trying to figure out who they are today, regardless of their
Absolutely.
age. So you should, if you haven't decided to do that yet, you should.
Okay.
I think it would be great. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
And I will think of Sandy because I have known of other family members that with mental illness issues, and hopefully she's in a place now where she's peaceful and happy and doing whatever she wants to do.
absolutely.
So before we go, I want to make sure we share all your social medias, all of them. Okay, so you do have your Substack. Your website is jenniferfinch.com.
.com.
Okay, let's see. You have on Facebook, it's Jennifer Precious Finch,
Hmm.
right? Because
That's
that
my
was
middle
your
name.
dad's, right? Your dad called you Precious. So did you?
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's see, Instagram, Threads, you're Jennifer Finch. X, you're Jennifer Finch. Blue Sky, Jennifer Finch. And I believe that's it.
You are
Jennifer
so sweet.
Precious Finch.
Yeah. And I welcome anybody to contact me for any kind of conversation. Substack really is the best, what I check the most, but also Instagram.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure speaking with you.
Oh, thank you for
beautiful
doing this
being
work.
on the inside and out.
Oh, thank you.
And
You
a great mist and insight and a journey. And you've been recovered for how long now? You've been clean for how many decades?
35 years.
Good for you. Yet another inspiration. All right. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And we will be back next week with another episode of Should Have Listened to My Mother.